Hi guys, welcome back to PKFX YouTube trading channel. So today is 1st of July and we have officially started the month of July. We have concluded the month of June. So we'll do our usual monthly Bitcoin analysis, the bigger time frame on where do we expect Bitcoin to go in the upcoming months. All right, so right now we are looking at the monthly charts and let me quickly bring over the drawings over here. All right, great. So right now we can see that we are still in a bear market, obviously, and the month of June has literally dumped all the way down here and actually closed over here. Now, I explained in my previous video that this is what I'm expecting Bitcoin to do, and I'm looking forward for Bitcoin to be doing this, to be closing a new lower low for the month of June. And one of the main reasons is because I would be able to move my monthly lower high from this area over here all the way down to this area over here, because now this becomes the new lower low and this is the next structure point that marks the new lower high, right? So this is actually very good. The reason is because now the monthly lower high sits around 76.3K, and what it means to me is that if at all in the upcoming months Bitcoin rallies all the way up here and breaks above this lower high, making a new higher high, Bitcoin is now changing from a bear market into a bull market, which I believe everyone is looking forward to. So yeah, for me this is actually a great news. This is actually marking the final phase of the bear market, I would say. The upcoming months, Bitcoin should be making its new low. It should have either already made the low point of the bear market, or it's in the final stages of about to make the low for the bear market. Now, do I think that the bear market is going to be over in the next 1 or 2 months? To me, no. I still believe an entire 1 year of bear market has to play out, and we topped out pretty much on October. So we pretty much have time until October 2026, which is somewhere around here, I would say, right? So another 3 or 4 candles to go before I believe the bear market ends. Now, I'm looking for Bitcoin to fall either in the undervalued or extremely undervalued territory, mainly at the undervalued territory, which is from 51 to 49,000. This will be a very interesting point to start accumulating Bitcoin aggressively, in my opinion. But I don't know if we are going to get that. Maybe Bitcoin just concludes its low over here in this territory, which is pretty much below the 200 simple moving average weekly line that I'll show when I go to the weekly chart. But if Bitcoin were to do that, then most probably the low would be in somewhere between pretty much 60,000 to about 54.8 thousand, which is somewhere around in this box. But again, once again, I'm not really buying anything yet, but I'm already aiming to do my dollar cost average into Bitcoin somewhere around this category now, knowing that the bear market is coming to an end. Now, let's go down to the weekly. So the monthly very clearly is a sell, this being the lower low and this being the lower high, right? And if I move to the weekly, and I would like to maintain this particular line over here to show where it falls on the weekly candle, right? So if I move to the weekly now, we can clearly see the yellow line over here. This is the 200 simple moving average. And the last week, Bitcoin has actually finally broken below and closed below the 200 weekly simple moving average. Now that's actually a big deal, because historically speaking, Bitcoin has actually only done that once, I would say, over here during the previous bear market. I believe before that it was not below the 200 simple moving average. My data doesn't extend all the way there, but yeah, it has done that before in the past, and I don't know if something similar will happen. But all I could say is, if it's already below the 200 simple moving average, it's probably not going to spend that much of a time. You probably have a few more months to go before the bull market resumes. So that's why I say, like, even though it's bad news, I look at it as a good news, because I know that we are now officially in this territory. Now, going back to the weekly, over here. Another thing that I want to highlight is this looks like a very clear shoulder, hit, and a shoulder pattern with a retest of the neckline, and now it's breaking below. We can also look at it as shoulder, hit, and shoulder, and now it's officially breaking below. So any form of a rally can be a retest of the 200 SMA and then continue towards the downside. I think the first pattern is playing out. Shoulder, hit, and a shoulder and a retest of a neckline, and it's falling below, and a simple pullback and a final fall below. So this is what I think it's happening. I think we are pretty close to the low of the bear market. I mean, don't get me wrong, we are still in a bear market, but we are pretty close to the end of the bear market. Price-wise, we are pretty close. I believe it should be within any of these three boxes now. And time-wise, time-based capitulation-wise, we only have another 3 to 4 months to go. So keep a lookout towards this upcoming low. In fact, I would say that because weekly has already fallen below this 200 simple moving average, anywhere in this box itself is already a good buying opportunity. Anywhere in this box over here, which for within 51 to 49K, which I don't know if I'll get it or not, is still an excellent buying opportunity. This is very less likely, but if it falls there, man, that is a legendary buying opportunity in my opinion. So this is what I'm looking at. Weekly, this is the lower low, and technically this is the lower high. And if Bitcoin were to rally and break above the 200 simple moving average, break above this particular area that is now acting as a resistance, and then break the monthly. Now again, this line I took it from the monthly over here that I'm carrying forward to the weekly candles, so that we are aware where the monthly lower high is formed. So it's somewhere at 76.3K. Weekly is still higher unless we make a few more weeks rallying upwards and then a tremendous fall towards the downside. Then the weekly will also move towards the downside. But right now, as we speak, for the month of July, I see that the weekly lower high is 0.2K. Now, on a weekly candle, if Bitcoin was able to break all these things and close above this 82.2K, then we are officially in a bull market as well. Now, finally, I would like to look into each chart and carrying forward the weekly and the monthly line into the daily as well. So I need to really zoom out for this case, and I can see that for the daily pattern, right, pretty low right now, somewhere around here, but the weekly and the monthly is up here, right? So it is easier for the daily to change into a bullish momentum and back into a bearish momentum and back into a bullish and back into a bearish momentum. So I'm not really gonna be tracking the daily candlestick pattern to indicate whether Bitcoin is now officially in bull category or bear category, right? That's just day-to-day movement, right? So for me, at this point of time, for Bitcoin in terms of investing, I'm really looking at the higher time frames, starting from the monthly, going down to the weekly and daily. If I am trading, then I'll probably look at weekly, daily, 4 hour. But since I'm going to be investing, I'm looking at monthly, weekly, and daily. So the 4 hour that I look at for daily purposes is now a daily candle. So looking back in, right, daily, it is technically still a sell, this being the new lower low and over here being the new lower high. So if daily is able to cross and break a region which is 64.3K, then we are back in a bull trend or a buy trend for the daily candlestick pattern. Now this could probably happen looking at what has happened for the month of June, which has been a tremendous fall. I believe July and August we might have a rally towards the upside, and at the same time I see that the 200 simple moving average on a daily basis, this is for daily candlestick pattern, is acting as a resistance and also is coming down. So what I see as a potential thing that may happen in the upcoming days for the next few weeks, if it's not going to dump down further, it can even rally all the way up here, finding some resistance in this box, and by that time the SMA would have grown all the way up to here, right? So somewhere around in the region of 66 to 70k, Bitcoin can actually rally all the way up there before most probably getting rejected one more time, or probably one last time, and then falls all the way down. Now we got to bear in mind that if it breaks that 200 SMA, then we have to keep an eye, because now things are changing, right? We are closing up towards the last few months of the bear market. So anything like that can spell a change in the momentum. So these are the things that I'm looking at. Once again, I'm not going to look that much on a daily basis. I'm going to look at the weekly, monthly, and for me, the weekly, it just only broke below. I expect a few more months of sideways action and a dump, or even if it rallies, to come back and retest the scene of the crime, which is the break below the 200 simple moving average, retest that, and then eventually fall back further. And the moment it comes to this box, that's great buying opportunity. Or even if it comes close to the bottom part of this box, it's still a great buying opportunity. But the moment it breaks above the 200 simple moving average back again and have a weekly candle closure above, now we got to start paying attention, right? So worst case scenario, let's say if you fail to time the bear market bottom, right? Two things you can do is either dollar cost average on a weekly basis, wherever it is, because anywhere over here right now is a fantastic opportunity, or you can wait until Bitcoin closes a monthly candle above 76.3k to be super confident that, hey, now on a monthly scale, Bitcoin has now turned into bullish momentum. And that's why you can also enter aggressively. This is purely based on I see from a technical analysis perspective. Obviously, do your own research. This is not financial advice, but this is what I see in the market. So once again, monthly sell, weekly sell, daily sell. We are still in a bear market, but we are towards the ending part of the bear market. I foresee another 3 to 4 months of a bear market continuation. Either this was the bottom, or we are about to form the final bottom, which can happen in the first box or the second box. Worst case scenario is the third box. Actually, I wouldn't say this is the worst case scenario. That's another. I really zoom out and I mark it as a worst case scenario over here. But I'm not looking at this at the moment. Is this box? Let me just show you very quickly. This is from 32 to 30k. So that is the absolute worst case scenario, in my opinion. I get that, and from where did I get that? That is from the trend line ever since Bitcoin started. So this is like the ultimate bottom that Bitcoin has been holding, and I highly doubt it that it's going to come all the way down here. But if it does, then something seriously has broken financially, and this would be probably the best buying opportunity of our lifetime kind of stuff. And if it breaks below, then pretty much Bitcoin is gone for good. This is my opinion, which I highly doubt that it would happen. So I'm going to just ignore this part and just focus on these 3 boxes that I've drawn for the past few months, ever since Bitcoin started its bear market, and I'm going to just hold on to it. So that's about it, guys. That's pretty much the higher level analysis for Bitcoin on a monthly, weekly, and daily basis. I wish you guys all the very best, and good luck. Thank you so much for your time, and have a good day.